As far as Leo Santa Cruz, if you follow my channel, you'll know he's one of my favorite up and coming stars. Very humble, very likable fighter outside of the ring and also inside of the ring. When it comes to inside the ring, this guy is vicious. He's the most nicest kid during the post fight interviews and whatnot. But when he's in the ring, I mean, he comes to fight. He has vicious body shots. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. What better way to ring in the new year, 2015, Happy New Year, everybody, than for me to expose some shit. So let's get into the topic of this video. You guys see the title. Now, the reason I started with that audio clip is because I want people to know that on my channel, I call it down the middle. Not that I have anything to prove, because I really don't, but there may be some people who are newer subscribers, newer followers to Ego, so they haven't peeped out my old shit back when I was getting 100 views and 300 views and shit on videos. So they haven't been here for the whole journey. So I want people to know that in this video, I'm going to say some unfavorable things, and not from a I hate this person. And people always want to do that. Ego, you're biased. You hate Danny Garcia. Yet from Eric Morales to all the way to Mauricio Herrera, I picked Danny Garcia to win in all of my prediction videos and showed him nothing but love. But then the minute he backtracks and does something that I don't agree with or approve, like Rod Salka and his demeanor, then all of a sudden you hate Danny Garcia. You're just a hater. Same thing with Leo Santa Cruz. I'm going to say some stuff about him. You heard the audio tape. That's from a year ago. Again, back when I was getting 150 views and shit on my channel. That was a whole year ago. And I don't have nothing against these dudes. I just call it down the middle. And I'm not for the bullshit. So when I see something, if I like it, I will tell you. I'll say, yo guys, I like this. If I don't like it, I don't approve of it, or I see them start to shift, then I'm going to speak on that too. And people can't handle the truth. People can't handle that level of realness. And that's what I give you. So Leo Santa Cruz. The thing that upsets me is when you see a young star who is climbing through the ranks, and then you got an older head like Guillermo Rigondeaux who's calling him out. He's saying, hey, I'm a champion. Let's fight. Which is also stylistically a good fight. You got a technician who may have a suspect chin, but he's very accurate. He's a sharpshooter. He's a good mover. He's a thinker. Good defense. Great fighter like Rigondeaux. Then you have another up-and-coming great fighter who hasn't faced a Nonito Donaire caliber opponent, and he's looking to make a name. And these fans are actually enablers, and they're enabling champions to not fight like the throwback fighters, and they're allowing them to duck. Now, a lot of people want to bring up Mayweather and Pacquiao. They duck this and they duck that. I'm not a condoner of duckage in general. However, them dudes already paid their stripes. They've been in the game 15, 18 years, whatever the fuck it's been. They've paid their dues. They can really retire if they got like an injury and retired. They're still legends, whether you think them fighting each other takes away or not. They've paid their dues. Leo Santa Cruz hasn't. He's a new guy. He in the grand scheme of things. He hasn't had his Mayweather versus Diego Corrales, where you were the heavy underdog and then you knocked Diego Corrales down 3-4 times and shocked the world. He hasn't had that Eric Morales versus Pacquiao 1 and 2 and 3 trilogy where people are like, oh shit, Pacquiao beat the shit out of Morales. He beat the shit out of Barrera. He knocked Ricky Hatton cold out in the second. Leo Santa Cruz hasn't had that, at least to me. Maybe to you guys who are fanboys, but not to me. So again, I don't want to talk about Mayweather and Pacquiao because they are who they are and they have longevity in the game. These new guys are really the guys with the most to prove, in my opinion. So when it comes to Leo Santa Cruz, I hate to see this whole, like, I'm not going to blame it all on Al Heyman. I think he plays a part on it. But this high risk, low reward bullshit where you can have a champion nowadays and the champ can't get fights. Like what kind, in what era of boxing is this okay and accepted that we make excuses as fans for not wanting to see that? I really can't wrap my head around that. You got a guy like Leo Santa Cruz who's talented, and again, it's a good stylistic matchup because he's a volume guy. He's a vicious body puncher. He has that Mexican style, like stereotypical style, and heart. So I think it could be a good fight. We'll see what both guys are really made of. How is Rigondeaux going to do with a guy who might not back down, who's going to try to kill his body, and you know what I'm saying, has broken guys down in the past. And then how would Leo Santa Cruz do against a sharpshooter who's a sniper? You know what I mean? And who could frustrate him. That's a good fight. But these fans, let them tell it. Some of them, not all of them. So shout out to the real boxing heads. But some of them will say, oh, he's boring. Someone told me the other day, oh, Leo Santa Cruz, he's a star and Rigondeaux's not. They said Unimos didn't even televise Rigondeaux's last fight against the Japanese dude, Amagasa. The fuck has that got to do with anything? And again, that's, to me, that's the fans being enablers. You're enabling ducking at that level because you're saying, because he gets shitted on by networks or he gets shitted on by his promoter or he's not being handled in the right way or whatever, because his fight isn't televised, we shouldn't see a good matchup. That's stupid. On all accounts, to me, that is stupid. Now, the real nail in the coffin for me is when people say bullshit like that and then you see who these guys actually fight. You know what I'm saying? You can't say, oh, this fighter sucks, he's not on my level, it don't make no business sense, and then fight someone who's far lesser than that, right? So Leo Santa Cruz, he's fighting on the Deontay Wilder Bermane Stiverne undercard. Guess who he's fighting? Jesus Ruiz. Who in the fuck is that? Jesus Ruiz, like, name one thing. What do people know him from? Name one thing he's done that's legendary. When was his last televised fight? So you see, it's easy when you got someone who really understands boxing, like myself, for us to jam you up and back you into a fucking corner. Because you're talking about a certified champion. You could say whatever, oh, he got knocked down twice in his last fight. You could say this and that, X, Y, and Z, but he's still undefeated and he's still a champion. Who the fuck is Jesus Ruiz? And that's who Leo Santa Cruz is fighting. So everything you just said about Rigo not being a star is now out the window because he's fighting someone who's clearly less. In fact, just to give you guys some, to cite my sources, Jesus Ruiz is ranked number 26 in the world at Super Bantam. 26. This motherfucker's not even top 10, top 15. And the division, let me tell you, is not stacked. It's not like welterweight or junior welterweight where you got a lot of killers, because in those divisions, obviously if you have a lot of, it's like In Living Color. In Living Color, as a TV show, they had a lot of stars. They had a lot of funny guys. You know what I mean? So everyone can't be in the same skit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Jim Carrey, he's better for this skit. Damon Wayans, you got to sit this one out because there's a lot of talent. However, Super Bantam doesn't have a talent pool like that. So the fact that Jesus Ruiz is number 26 in a division that's not even fucking stacked, that goes to show you something. That goes to show you what level of opposition he really is. Now, to further prove my point, I want you guys to understand something. If you look in the top 10, you're going to see names like Jeffrey Matabula. You're also going to see Kiko Martinez. Now, let's do a little bit of background. Jeffrey Matabula lost 2 of his last 3 fights. In fact, his very last fight, he got stopped by Kiko Martinez. Not a TKO or corner stoppage. He got knocked the fuck out. He got iced, duffed. So that's his last fight. He also fought Nonito Donaire. So 2 fights ago, he fought Nonito Donaire and got his jaw broken in that fight and lost that fight. And he had 1 win against some bum. He's a former champion. But this guy is top 10 with losses recently, with the KO loss. And he's still top 5. Then you look at Kiko Martinez, a guy who just, he came back and fought some bum. But before that, he lost to Carl Frampton, got knocked down in that fight. He also fought previously Carl Frampton, and he got TKO'd by Carl Frampton, right? So a guy who's a solid guy, but as you can see, guys that are in the top 5, and they still have losses. Like recently, not like, oh, you lost like your pro debut or some shit like that. They have recent losses, and they still made it to the top 5. Meanwhile, Jesus Ruiz, another guy with losses, but against way less opposition, like to lose to Nonito Donaire, Kiko Martinez, to lose to Carl Frampton, those aren't things to be as ashamed of. But Jesus Ruiz, he lost to motherfuckers you never even heard of. You know what I'm saying? And he's been stopped before. So that's my point. You can't say Rigondeaux is this and that. He's a runner. He's boring. But what is Jesus Ruiz? We don't know because no one's ever fucking really seen him other than his immediate family. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just sick of boxing and the politics and these dumbass fans who actually allow for this bullshit. You mean to tell me, like, and see, this is the thing. If you're a huge Leo Santa Cruz fan and you should ride with your man and want to see him fight Rigo, and if Rigo's so boring, Leo Santa Cruz should beat him, easy work, and then Leo Santa Cruz is the next star with belts, and Rigondeaux is going to fall into obscurity because he's already quote unquote boring to people. He's already not being promoted right. So if he's no longer undefeated and he's no longer a champion, then he's really going to struggle to get fights. So there's really no reason. It's a win-win situation for Leo Santa Cruz. He should beat Rigondeaux. It's easy work instead of fighting guys like Jesus Ruiz. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. Any way you spin it, and you could be a diehard Leo Santa Cruz fan or whatever. And I really like the kid, but I'm not okay with this level of matchmaking. And this is the other thing. When everyone's a soft touch, it'd be one thing if you were Amir Khan, who got destroyed or whatever by Danny Garcia in 4 rounds, and he came back to a soft touch, a guy from lighter division who was a non-puncher, Carlos Molina. It'd be different if you were Manny Pacquiao, got knocked out by a formidable longtime rival Marquez, came back, Brandon Rios came up in weight, and he fought him, beat the shit out of him. Those situations are a little bit different. For me, the real reason is because you're switching coaches and or you're coming off of a stoppage loss. So you have reason to take soft touches because you got to get your confidence back. You have to get back in the swing of things like that. Leo Santa Cruz is undefeated. There's no reason for him to continually take soft touches and TBA opponents. Same thing with Gary Russell. I say the same thing with him. Why at this level are you having TBA opponents? It doesn't make sense to me. And like I said, if it's easy work, just beat the man, put a blemish on Rigondeaux's record, he has no chin, or whatever you feel, and then keep moving on with your career. And at least you'll be a champion now. You know what I'm saying? You did that. You had your step-up challenge. You passed with flying colors, and then move on. So I'm not going to baby these fighters. You might. Some of these fans might. But I'm not. I'm going to tell you what I feel and give it to you real. And that's what it is with Leo Santa Cruz. He's a hell of a fighter. He's a good fighter. But I think the way he's being handled at the moment is hindering his growth because you can only learn so much from continually fighting soft touches and journeymen. You know what I mean? I think you look at any great fighter from Muhammad Ali to Pacquiao to Mayweather to Larry Holmes, anybody, and you'll see throughout their career, they weren't matched solely with soft touches and bullshit. You know what I mean? And that's what helps you grow as a fighter, having those puzzles to figure out and dealing with adversity. I can go through people like legendary fighters' career, like Oscar De La Hoya, Mosley, any of them dudes, and tell you defining moments where they were faced with some level of adversity, where they weren't the favorite, where they got robbed, where they were robbed, whatever the situation is. You know what I'm saying? So to be matched with soft touches is really not beneficial to the person. And Leo Santa Cruz fought on the Mayweather undercard against Roman, and he got a stoppage, and that was some bullshit too. So I hate to see fighters as they grow in their competition starts to decline. Like, what part of the game is that? You're getting better as a fighter, but your competition's getting way worse? That doesn't even make sense to me. So if you can help me understand that, please drop me a comment. Let me know what you guys want to see next from Leo Santa Cruz or Rigondeaux. Let me know if you agree with this video, if you disagree. If you do disagree, let me know why. And saying, oh, this fighter's boring or this fighter's not on his level when they're a champion is some bullshit. So you might want to refrain from those comments so you don't look stupid. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego, signing off.